Right now, on the National Weather Desk, wildfires in Texas have burned hundreds of thousands of acres. We'll look at why the fires spread so quickly.
Winds gusting as high as 70 miles per hour, coupled with relative humidity values of 10 to 15%.
The Cascades saw a round of snow recently, but will it be enough to help this year's low snowpack numbers?
Even though precipitation has been close to normal in southern Washington and northern Oregon Cascades, we just haven't really seen that snowpack.
It's Rip Current Awareness Week. We'll help you better understand what they are and how you can stay safe if you get caught in one. And we continue our countdown to this year's solar eclipse.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Amira David. We begin today in Clark County, Ohio, where the National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado touched down in the early morning hours there. Melena Brown is on scene for us.
Good morning. Right now I am outside of Springfield in Harmony Township, where a confirmed tornado went through. I'm going to take a step out so you can take a look at some of the damage. This home on this hill, the roof is completely leveled. We know a woman was trapped in that home. She was safely able to get out. You can see the damage across the plain here. This house over to my left also having a ton of damage. You can see some of the siding on the top of their home gone. Now, what you're seeing in the grass here is actually remnants of a barn that was back further in the yard. We were able to speak with some of the neighbors who say they're happy to be safe. They're ready to start working to assess some of this damage and get this taken care of. We do know the National Weather Service will be here at some point today to assess the damage and determine the strength of the tornado that went through here. We have crews all in the area going to different places, finding new reports of damage, and we're going to continue to bring you updates on air and online. Reporting live, I'm Melena Brown.
Well, that's the sound of tornado sirens going off near Columbus, Ohio this morning. 2 tornado touchdowns have been preliminarily confirmed there, and you can see here the destruction left behind. The National Weather Service has confirmed there was tornadic damage, but will need to investigate further to determine the strength. Tornado warnings for the area have expired, but weather conditions were just right for them to form. And let's turn to Ohio meteorologist John Gum to better understand tornado formation.
So just how does a tornado form? Well, a lot of it has to do with winds, and winds at different levels and how they interact. First, we have the surface winds. These may come in from one direction or another, but the important thing here is the difference in wind speed and direction between these surface winds and the jet stream winds aloft. They're usually faster, and sometimes they're coming in from a different direction. And when you get this combination, we get something we call wind shear. And wind shear is what begins to get the winds spinning. So we get this column of air that is rotating. First of all, it's a horizontal column. It needs something to flip it vertically, and that something is instability and thunderstorm updrafts. Those winds, the warm, moist wind that goes into a thunderstorm, that the thunderstorm sucks that wind up just like a vacuum cleaner. Well, as that wind going up interacts with this rotating column of air, we flip it into the vertical, and we sometimes get what we call a wall cloud. You might notice this with a supercell thunderstorm. It's that low appendage that hangs down. Sometimes that cloud will actually rotate itself as that circulation spins around. And as that circulation spins down to the ground, we can get a tornado. Now, if it doesn't go all the way to the ground, it's a funnel cloud, but when it reaches the ground, that's when we have a tornado. And that's when we get a tornado warning. Tornadoes, one of the deadliest forms of weather that we see in the United States. And we get more tornadoes in the U.S. than any other part of the world.
Very interesting. And in the Texas Panhandle, firefighters are battling multiple wildfires for a third day in a row. The Smokehouse Creek fire scorched at least 250,000 acres by Tuesday afternoon. Flames and thick smoke prompted evacuations, and a nuclear weapons facility in the area suspended operations. Dozens of counties are under a disaster declaration, including all 26 Panhandle counties. Several school districts are closed today. Dry weather, warm temperatures, and gusty winds making conditions ripe for quickly spreading wildfires that moved from county to county. Meteorologist Corbin Voges explains why the fires spread so fast.
Conditions a lot quieter on Wednesday morning after what has been a Southern Plains wildfire outbreak across the southern High Plains, specifically in the northeast Texas Panhandle. Extreme fire conditions were present on both Monday and Tuesday. Winds gusting as high as 70 miles per hour, coupled with relative humidity values of 10 to 15%, led to extreme fire conditions and that wildfire outbreak. Winds predominantly were from the west, and that's what drove a lot of these fires to push east at 3 to 5 miles per hour, breaking containment lines, jumping highways and rivers. Blowing dust also a big issue, and difficult travel conditions for those high-profile vehicles. Wildfires scorching a large portion of the northeast panhandles, with numerous fires unable to be contained for more than 36 hours. You can see plenty of smoke and fire from some of our viewers in the area. Kaylee Cheshire up in Canadian Texas when that fire originally got going on Monday. The total numbers of acres burned is not yet finalized. The latest totals, more than 300,000 acres burned. That likely to continue to grow before these fires are completely put out. I'm Corbin Voges for the National Weather Desk.
Well, conditions are usually extreme when fighting wildfires, but in central Nebraska on Tuesday, firefighters were dealing with both fire and ice. Steve White has those details.
Oh man, it's all frozen from head to toe. We got ice and we got mud, got all of it.
The same 45-mile-an-hour wind gust that spread the flames hampered firefighters.
Brutal, just flat horrible.
A record 75-degree day in February with low humidity and high winds increased the fire danger.
If you get into dry and stuff, it'd be off to the races again. The good thing is the moisture moving in. That's what we really need right now.
Those firefighters were just saying we needed some moisture in. Look at this. The snow just started flying.
Miles from a population center as the fire spread in southern Custer County, folks pitched in.
Farmers and ranchers coming with water tanks and tractors and disc and pickups with sprayers in the back of them. And it's a huge community effort.
With the worst of it contained, local volunteer firefighters turned things over to a crew that's seen this before.
739, 702 fire, yes, all over again.
Those numbers etched in their minds, the names of the wildfires that hit southwest Nebraska in 2022.
And I specifically remember a lot of these guys being down there. So when the call came out to come up here and relieve them today, I was more than happy to come. Ag is a huge part of all of our communities.
Fortunately, no lives lost, and local volunteers able to hand things over to firefighters who know what needs to be done.
When stuff like this happens, you got to band together and help each other out.
Reporting in Custer County, I'm Steve White.
Well, check this out. In southwest Montana, it was a weekend of ski joring in this sporting competition. It's a sport. In fact, skiers pulled through the snow over mini slopes by a horse or a dog. The event took place on Saturday and Sunday at the Wisdom Airport. This year, a horse named Itchy won first place. And farmers are trying out new methods to care for their fields, and that includes drones. The unmanned devices can be used to gather data on their crops by analyzing plant health from the sky. They can also deliver pesticides and chemical treatments with precision. If you're looking for more great weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. We post all the latest weather headlines and a ton of content from our team of meteorologists across the country. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, it's Rip Current Awareness Week. We're going to show you how rip currents form and what you should do if you're caught in one. And we will head to Ohio to see how they are getting ready for the upcoming solar eclipse.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Warmer air working its way eastward helped bring this dense fog that was over the Providence, Rhode Island area this morning. Meanwhile, cold air north of Seattle brought a fresh covering of snow. These are scenes from Mukilteo. Some spots in the mountains got close to a foot from this latest storm system in the Pacific Northwest.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
We are now just 40 days away from the solar eclipse across America. In Ohio, a new UNESCO World Heritage Site is planning a watch party for the upcoming eclipse. The location isn't quite in the path of totality, but as Megan Mangillo found out, it's been used to watch cosmic events for centuries.
This stone mound, along with 3 others, they do form a perfect square.
We walk the path of astronomical alignment just as the sun or moon would.
When you're coming here and experiencing Fort Ancient, you're not seeing something that's been reconstructed. What you're seeing is this earthwork largely as it has been for the last 2,000 years.
Fort Ancient director Bill Kennedy said the mounds are believed to have been built by the hands of American Indians between 2,000 and 1,600 years ago. This hilltop enclosure in Warren County is linked to others like it in Licking and Ross counties, collectively known as the Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks.
Where I'm standing at right now is actually where they would have observed 2 of the lunar alignments.
The Native Americans noticed the moon would rise and fall in dramatic fashion on the plateau. So over decades, they built the giant complex of mounds and put breaks in the walls to track cosmic activity.
Although they would not have had the same understanding of astronomy that we would have, They were skilled observers of the sky, which is very complicated, even for a modern audience, because it is a cycle of cycles.
The lunar cycle on April 8th of this year will produce a total solar eclipse.
This nature preserve has over 100 acres of land that overlooks the Little Miami River. On the day of the eclipse, it'll be free for folks to come in and watch it happen.
Skywatchers of our time can come to this special spot to observe and understand the grand alignment of modern day.
And stay with the National Weather Desk as we count down the days until the April 8th eclipse. We'll also have a whole lot more posted on the eclipse on our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk and be sure to subscribe. The ice fishing season is coming to a close in Wisconsin. Safety deadlines are approaching for getting permanent ice fishing huts off the ice. Eric Peterson reports this move comes as the winter weather remains unpredictable.
This is Heidman Lake in southwestern Kewaunee County. Yep, and the ice is still here, obviously, and there are some fishermen out there right now.
DNR Conservation Warden Jimmy Moore says the ice season in this area has been unpredictable.
With the way some of the lakes froze, and then we had some weird thaws in there and some rain, and that really messed up some of the ice conditions for a lot of folks.
Moore says many people used portable shanties this year, but starting on Sunday, permanent shacks on water bodies south of Highway 64 need to be removed. For Wisconsin-Michigan boundary waters, the deadline is March 15th, and for inland waters north of Highway 64, the deadline is March 17th.
There's an environmental concern, and the last thing we want is folks to leave their ice shelters out too long, and then once the ice conditions start to deteriorate, then it'll be too dangerous to go out and retrieve them.
About an hour to the northwest at Shawano Lake County Park,
typically, you'd see 40, 50 ice shacks still on the lake right now, and then they'd settle them over here on the parking lot to get them off the ice.
Shawano County Parks Director Keith Marquardt says it's the first time in 15 years there was no truck traffic on the 6,200-acre lake. On Monday morning, a lone shack sat in the parking lot waiting to be taken away. Meanwhile, Marquardt says it could be an early spring.
We're getting a lot of ice push already along our beach area and along the boat landing here. So I would assume it's going to be the ice will be out the first part of March.
And speaking of lake ice, check out these pictures sent to us by a viewer of ice shoves along Lake Michigan on Sunday. Ice shoves occur when currents in the water push up chunks of ice onto the shore. They are beautiful, but they can damage docks, piers, or even homes if they're too close to the water. It is Rip Current Awareness Week for many parts of the country. You may be wondering, why do inland areas need to learn about rip currents in February? Well, this is the time when spring break crowds start heading to warmer locations to get in the water. Emily Gracie spoke to an ocean safety expert to understand why it's so critical to respect the ocean before you get in it.
Often at spring break, there may not be the lifeguard agencies that are set up that you would normally find in May or June. So really, it becomes the responsibility of the college student or mom or dad or even the kids to be aware of what's going on at the beach, to know about rip currents and how to get out of those dangers, but also know about the other hazards that they may run across at the beach.
When you're on the beach, how can you spot one and know maybe now's not a good time to get in the water?
Well, the best thing to do is before you walk down onto the sand, when you're maybe coming over the dunes, you're at a slightly elevated area, but away from the water, take 10 or 15 minutes to survey. For rip currents specifically, you can start by looking for maybe a break in the wave or an area of water that might be a little bit lighter colored than some of the other areas. That indicates that it might be picking up sand and pulling it out in kind of a channel, moving out towards deeper water.
From what I understand, and I've never been in this scenario, but it's panicking even for the strongest swimmer, right?
Go with the current, float on your back, but don't panic and stay relaxed. Very counterintuitive, and it's a lot harder When it happens to you for the first time, if you can, let the current carry you a little bit, and you can possibly swim perpendicular to the current, which will usually be parallel to the beach, and maybe signal to shore as well.
Anything else you want to share about staying safe at the beach this spring break?
Be aware that one of the biggest dangers is second victim drownings, people that go in the water to save someone else. Take a look at the National Weather Service's Take 10 video to kind of see a 55-second cartoon about what to do if you see someone else in trouble. Know that weather can change dramatically on a shoreline. It might be calm with no wind in the morning, but it might be blowing 20 miles an hour offshore in the afternoon, and that'll dramatically affect what you would experience in near-shore conditions right there. And if you're traveling internationally, take the time to talk to a local to find out what's going on at that beach and where to get help if you need it.
Really helpful tips there. And to learn more about staying safe at the beach, including how to address fears of going in the ocean, head over to our YouTube page and watch the longer version of that interview. Just search the National Weather Desk. And as we head to break, we take in the views of Lake Washington just outside of Seattle.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a pretty dynamic cold front moving through the area late today and into Thursday morning. Out ahead of this feature, in the Northeast, we have some mild conditions. The winds are going to be cranking out of the south. Coastal areas stand the greatest chance for getting some scattered power outages. That's true over the higher elevations as well. That front means business. A big cool down is in store as that front moves through late tonight and into the morning on Thursday. Temps will struggle to get out of the 20s and 30s with strong winds on Thursday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Wednesday starting out pretty messy again. We will see temperatures rising, but our scattered showers will be around throughout the day, especially likely through the evening hours. And we could even see some thunderstorms as this system goes by. We will see a big drop in temperatures on the other side. Winds gusting 50 miles per hour at times. Highs on Wednesday afternoon around 65 to 68 degrees, but a big 20-degree drop with highs only in the 40s for Thursday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We have the frontal boundary moving across the area. We can see exactly where it is located right now. Memphis, Little Rock, here are cool spots behind that front. Everywhere else we're seeing above average temperatures today. We're going to continue to see that front progress throughout the area into this afternoon. Spots of showers, none of which will be severe in nature. We will continue to see isolated showers into the Florida area Thursday into the afternoon.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Mosquitoes are swarming parts of Argentina. Videos posted to social media show areas have been covered by a type of mosquito known as the flood mosquito for its association with heavy rains. Take a look.
Buenos Aires, Argentina is covered in mosquitoes. Social media videos posted the past few days show how areas have been swarmed by the Aedes albifasciatus, known as the flood mosquito for its association with heavy rains. Despite these shocking images, the phenomenon is common and usually occurs every 2 or 3 years depending on climatic and environmental conditions. However, being bitten by the fled mosquito does carry a risk of catching something called Western equine encephalomyelitis. The WEE virus can lead to severe forms of aseptic meningitis and encephalitis, according to the World Health Organization.
And a reminder about our podcast, Off the Radar. A new episode dropped just yesterday. It's all about making music from the sound of melting ice. New episodes drop every Tuesday. You can find Off the Radar anywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amira David. Make it a great Wednesday, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.